What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and I've been holding in a deep dark secret. Over the course of the last couple months, I've actually known about the Google console, Project Yeti, and I haven't been allowed to talk about it. And it's been killing me because I've been so excited about it, I wanted to talk, but my source basically said, keep it secret until more information is out there publicly. And now that people are reporting on it, I can finally tell you what I know. So the biggest thing is the fact that this console is made to blow minds. Google is a multi-billion-dollar company and they want to do this right. So the big thing that's going on now is that basically they are going around and trying to purchase entire studios to make it where they can create their own games, their own exclusives, and things that'll get your attention. So where I got a lot of my information from is Liam Robinson, a leaker that I absolutely respect the hell out of, because a lot of his reporting is so heavily sourced. He finds multiple people to talk about every subject before he repeats any little things he's gotten. So what he told me is that the way he phrased it is that originally people might laugh at the idea of a Google console. They might even think that this is absurd and not take it seriously, but they already are okay with that. Google realizes that this is going to be an uphill battle, but they plan on winning people over with awesome exclusives. So apparently the plan here is to just go around and make the games that people want that nobody else seems to be creating. So this is my own speculation here and nothing a source has told me, but what happens if somebody like Google has a lot of money to spare, goes up and decides to purchase somebody like Konami? This is a studio that's had a lot of problems over the last couple of years of not really creating the stuff we want. Well, what if somebody else comes in charge? What if the big bad badasses over at Google step in, just commandeer Konami, and start making stuff like a new Metal Gear Solid? Now, the reason I say that specifically is I've heard all sorts of little whispers about the fact that Konami is currently attempting to make a new Metal Gear. Now, we don't know exactly what it is, but from what I've heard, it is not going to be another project like Metal Gear Survive. That was apparently just a tiny little project to throw out there to see how much interest is still existing for this franchise. What they're making now is apparently something that the main title I've heard is Metal Gear Zero, so I think it's probably going to be some sort of giant reboot or possibly a huge remake of the original Metal Gear in modern graphics, making it where we're playing as Solid Snake on his first mission to kill his father Big Boss. That sounds fantastic, but even more so if we were having a strong developer or a strong company like Google at the helm, somebody who is going to motivate them to make it awesome. They can't slack off, they can't shove in crappy microtransactions, because the point of that game won't be about selling copies specifically, it's going to be about trying to get people to jump on board with the Yeti. Now, something else that we got to keep in mind about Project Yeti is that it's not exactly as straightforward as other consoles are. So when you think about stuff in general, when it comes to modern terms, you think about the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. These are consoles that are very, very hardware based. This right here is Horizon Zero Dawn. I buy a game, I have a disc, I install it on my physical console, and I play the hell out of it. What's going on with the Yeti is a little bit more blurry. They definitely want to have something along the lines of a streaming service, at least in some capacity. We don't know exactly what's going on yet. From what I've read, though, it makes it sound like something that you're going to possibly plug into your computer itself or into your TV that'll make it where you can play special video games that look fantastic but through your PC itself. Now, there's a big difference here because it's basically saying like this is going to be a separate type of computation that's going to work through your computer. So by plugging in the Yeti, think of it as like a crazy external processor possibly. You plug in there and it makes it where by opening up an extra tab on Google Chrome, you can just play Witcher 3 and it won't be bogging down your hardware. It's not going to be taking up the graphics card, the RAM, any of the horsepower in your PC itself, because it's being handled by a separate device that then connects to your computer. Now, That's the part I'm less excited about, because another aspect of that is the fact that they really want to stream a lot of the processing, making it where you're accessing a server to make it where you're getting lots of the graphics and lots of the code. Now, the reason I don't like stuff like that is because we've gotten services like that in the past, and none of them has been seamless. All of them have had that littlest tiny bit of input delay, which drives me nuts. I am a very competitive person, which is part of the reason I'm so addicted to Fortnite. I play a lot of shooters, I play a lot of online games, and I play to be the best. And doing that requires very smooth, fluid controls, making it where when I press a button, that's instantly what happens. Whereas if you have even the slightest bit of delay, that can completely destroy the experience. But I understand that partially the reason that Google is wanting this streaming service is because I think they're trying to push their own internet even harder. Google Fiber is literally some of the fastest net on the planet. So it could be the fact that they're trying to basically build a multi-tiered infrastructure so you get their internet in their browser and then plug their hardware into your PC so you can play their games and literally have the money fist of Google. The other part of this, and personally the part that I'm a lot more excited about, is a physical console. This one, I'm hearing different reporting on this, and they're all very conflicting, but the main thing that I'm seeing from people like Jason Schreier over at Kotaku is the fact that this physical console, it does seem like it wants to be considered as strong as current stuff. It's supposed to be as good as something like a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, but maybe not as expensive. It's going to be trying to use cheaper hardware, so maybe it'll be something along the lines of $100 and make it where you install games and play them directly from this device. That's the part that I'm more on board with, because Google has a very good head on its shoulders, but something they do the most is they come out, they dump money into a project, and then they see where it goes. If they're investigating with self-driving cars or mapping the planets with Google Maps, they spend the hundreds of millions of dollars to establish that infrastructure to hope that it pays off later. And that's kind of the big underlying theme from everything I'm hearing about this. The big thing that's going on with the Google Yeti project is that they understand that what's about to happen is going to be rough on them. The console itself is not complete. I actually have specific words that the console is actually still being developed. The console itself is still being worked on. Not really a bad thing. That just means they're finalizing it in some capacity. There are games that are in development. There are Google Yeti exclusives that are currently being made, which is awesome. But the main thing I'm hearing is that they understand that they need to be able to afford to set this on store shelves for a while. They need to be able to set it out there and possibly lose a lot of money for several years until it finally gets adopted. They're willing to throw it out there though, and I think that's the smart way to handle it. Microsoft sort of did the smart thing back in the original Xbox days because they kind of had the same idea. When they built the original Xbox, it was literally them going into their own warehouses and getting a decent graphics card, a decent processor, and a decent motherboard, decent hard drive, and putting them together. It was just a PC in a pre-built box. That way it would be cheap enough that if it did not sell right out of the gate, they could afford to let it float for a while until it picked up again. It's kind of the same thing that's now happening with the Xbox One. In general, the Xbox One is not making hundreds of millions of dollars. So because of it, they're kind of keeping it out there as a theory. That way they can try and make billions of dollars with the Xbox Two. Everything I'm hearing about Project Yeti is that they're ready to weather the storm, see what happens, and invest for a gaming future where Google is actually competing right alongside Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. But what do you think about this? This is such an interesting situation, and I'm excited for it. I don't think that we'll ever have more than three companies at the forefront of gaming. Even if we start to have like 5 or 6 competitors, like if Apple comes out with their theoretical console, we have Google, I still think that there will always be a big 3. I think that there will always be 3 companies that are competing for the top and 2 people that are trying to catch up. And so sometimes these guys will be in the lead and sometimes these guys will be in the lead. But it's going to make things very, very interesting in 2020. But what do you think about this? Would you be open to the idea of getting a new console if it was going to have exclusives you absolutely had to play? Something like maybe Twisted Metal coming back, or maybe Mother 3, a good remake of a crazy RPG you've always wanted. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh man, this is cool. I'm hyped, but let's hope that it's not too heavily on the streaming. I just don't like streaming games. It's just not my thing. Oh, hey, I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.